All right, we're recording. All right, everybody. It is Thursday, May 16th, 2024. Welcome to the Boston Boys Sports Podcast. I am, of course, the King of Carver. I am Eli Horrigan. I am here with the best beard in the business, Kiefer Bontos. Kiefer, how are you, my man?
Same stuff, brother. Same stuff. Ready to get this going today.
You and me both. And as always, X's biggest agitator and Miami Heat's least favorite person, Steve Fernandez. Stevie, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just dealing with all that nonsense. But how you doing,
Well,
Eli?
no, I'm doing great. No one handles it better than you. And of course, we want to mention we are partnered with Jones and for Sports. Jones and for Sports, we make sports better. Check them out on X, on Instagram, on YouTube. Why don't we start today off? Jump right into our opening thoughts. Kiefer, why don't you lead us off today? What do you got for us?
So I like this Patriots signing. Patriots signed Terrell Jennings, out of former running back out of Florida A&M. They actually won the HBCUC national championship this year for their ranking in divisions. Kid is 6'1", 225. Every year in college, he's progressed. More yards this year with 673 yards, 5.5 yards a carry, and 10 touchdowns. Good goal line back, good power back. Might make you think that they're going to run a little bit more to that running side. But Mayo talking crap over here about Drake Maye not being close to ready.
Oh, God.
Close to start. And it came right out, said it from word of mouth from him.
Well, I'll say that we're going to talk a lot about that, I'm sure, later on in the show, because I heard that too, and I'm like, this is exactly what we talked about on draft night, right? So my opening thought is I'm going to go Bruins with mine, and as tough as I have been on the Bruins, because I have been, if you read my writing, you know that I'm really tough on them. I don't like the offense. Overall, this season's been a success. There's good teams in the NHL. And the Bruins are a good team. The problem is great teams contend, and they're not a true contender. So they've hit 100 points in 3 straight seasons, 6 of the last 7. I just never thought they were a true contender. So that's why I think it has been a successful season. Even when they beat the Maple Leafs, I thought they'd get embarrassed by the Panthers. They go out and they win game 1. And at times they look like they don't belong. But then they fight back and they win another game. And if they can win tomorrow night and force a game 7, I don't think anyone thinks it's going to happen, including me, who picked the Panthers in 6. But overall, I would say this has been a successful season for the Bruins, much as I don't like saying that because I hate the style of hockey they're playing right now. I don't know what you guys think. If it's a success or not a success, we'll talk about the Bruins later. But Steve, why don't we get your opening thoughts as well?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with a little Celtics talk. I don't know if you noticed my name, but it says Al's not old. I think you tried to remind us of that last night. Um, there's a lot of talk about how this has been a Mickey Mouse trip for the Celtics because of the injuries, Miami, Jimmy Butler going on to Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell going down, Jared Allen not being in there, et cetera, et cetera. And people are saying it's such an easy walk if they win the title. It's absolute nonsense. It shouldn't be, it shouldn't matter as much as another one would. And I kind of argue that, and it's for a simple reason that's kind of funny, to be honest, but it's because the Celtics play down to their competition all the time. And this is something we have always seen. So as bad as the competition is, the Celtics always try to match them for some strange reason and can never put their foot on a team's throat. And we saw, I know they won both series 4-1. They haven't lost on the road in the playoffs. There's some good stuff in there. But when you look at it, some of those games should not have been as close as they ended up being. And I just think this is a run that we have to enjoy. Love watching everything that's going on with the Celtics right now. But it does make me nervous when they play down to their competition in situations like that. So that's what kind of concerns for me.
Yeah, I know you've been really hot on that for a while now, and I don't really disagree with you because there's like the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell, they shouldn't be hanging around. That team is, and I went on a rant last time we were talking, like Max Strus is a bum. Like a lot of these guys on that team, it's like, how are they hanging around until the third quarter, really last night, and then they started separating and pulling away, but they just like Mobley, they kept making comebacks. And Al's not old. However, I was I was ready to attend. I had my suit pressed for the career wake and funeral because he had been abysmal until last night, and he ends up going for 22 points and 15 rebounds. Steve, I think you text the group and said, "Who is this young Al Horford?" So
Yeah, I thought he was a clone. I didn't know what was going on.
Well,
it was.
he was the first person. I think he's the oldest player now to do that in the playoffs besides LeBron, and he's older than LeBron. So something happened last night. I don't know what it was, but something happened.
I mean, this guy's hungry. He wants a title, right? That's why he keeps coming back. He wants the title, and I think he doesn't care how he gets it. I was beginning to start thinking like maybe it's time to start giving Hauser, and as crazy as it sounds, Hauser and Cornette more minutes because Al's legs looked junk. He was shooting like 30% from three, which like in the regular season he was like 10 points percentage higher. Overall, last night when you're watching the Cavs game, what were your thoughts on Jason Tatum? Because there's a lot of hate and shade thrown at Jason Tatum, and I want to talk a lot about this because I feel like it's really unjust and unfair. Steve, want you any thoughts on Jason Tatum for us?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's unfair. I mean, I hate to have to agree with you on this. I like to argue, but I mean, he averaged 24, 10, and 6 in the series. I mean, he's averaged 24, 10, and 6 in the playoffs so far. And I feel like it's been quiet. I feel like a couple other guys have stepped up. Obviously, his shooting splits aren't the same. I mean, I think he's at like 43% from the field and 23% from three or something around there.
28.
28. Okay. Okay. So that's abysmal. I mean, they're both terrible. But he's found when he's not shooting and he's not shooting well, you've seen him change his game to be more of a facilitator to play off ball and stuff like that. The assists and I mean his rebounds, he's averaging over 10 in the playoffs. So I think he's kind of found a way to, all right, my shot's not going down tonight. I'm not going to shoot 15 threes. I'll shoot 7. I realize it's not working tonight. I got to find a new way, a different way to win. And I think that's a mark of a superstar. I think that's what a superstar does is they can realize this isn't my night. I got to do something different.
So I told you guys, Tatum turns it on when he needs to turn them on. He didn't need to turn it on in that beginning series. He didn't need to turn it on at the beginning of this series. When he saw that they lost that game and then he drops 33 with like 13 rebounds, 33 again, and then 25 last night with almost a triple-double. I think he was an assist off of a triple-double last night. Come on. Seriously, he is the superstar of this team. I know you guys say Jaylen Brown 1A, 1B, he there, but Tatum is the guy you want. He's the guy you want to turn it on.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. Tatum's your superstar, and I love Brown. Like, Brown's one of my favorite players in the league right now, but people point to Tatum. I hate the stupid, playoff Jason commercial. It's really stupid. I don't like it because really Tatum is, until you win a title, you're not playoff anything. You're not championship. You don't have that accolade. We've talked about it before, Steve. I think you playoff Jimmy really it gets under your skin a little bit because of that. But the hate for Jason Tatum is like when he doesn't score 30 points, people are like, oh, he's so overrated. But and as good as Ant is, right? The Timberwolves have been real quiet since they won 2 games against Denver. I don't hear the same hate like, oh, Ant's overrated, because Jason Tatum has changed his game. Like you said, Steve, when it's not his night, he's kicking it. And just for the splits, I took points per game, shooting percentage, 3-point percentage, rebounds, and assists. And while Tatum, his points per game, shooting percentage, and 3-point percentage is more in the regular season, he's actually got more rebounds and more assists in the postseason. And he's only 2 points per game less at 24. So he's doing more in different facets of the game because you're seeing defenders sag off their guys to help on Jason Tatum. And like you said, the true mark of a superstar is he's recognizing this and saying, oh, let me get my team involved then. Whereas I don't think a lot of superstars do that. He's matured to a level where it's like, I don't have to do it all. I trust my teammates.
Well,
I agree.
So when he talks about the Kobe factor, the Mamba factor,
Yeah.
You saw Kobe in the beginning of his career. He was a shooter. He didn't pass the ball. But when he started winning those championships again, and he started winning with Paul and them, he was passing the ball. His assists weren't down.
Yeah.
He's gonna do what he needs to do to be a team facilitator because he knows a team wins a championship. It's not just one person.
Yeah, without a doubt. And that team right now with Porzingis out, like Horford had his career resurgence last night. I don't know if we see that again, but Jaylen Brown's been excellent. Drew Holiday and Derek White have both flashed at times. Peyton Pritchard's still playing the same ball. One person that is, I don't want to say bugging me because I love the guy, but Derek White, he had that game one explosion with 25 points and he shot 58 points, 58% from three. Game two, 10 points. Game three, 12 points. Game four, 5 points. What he's doing, it started reminding me of Marcus Smart. You're a really good role player. That's who you are on this team. You're a great defender and you're a good role player. You should not be taking shots with 16 seconds left on the shot clock. That's not who you are. And then last night, he ends up getting 18 points and he looks like that guy who's facilitating and moving it. I just want him to play the ball that we've known all season because he's a guy who flashes. You're not the superstar. This is Tatum and Brown's team. And that's what got Marcus Smart really kicked out of Boston because Marcus Smart started thinking he was a big three. You're not a big three.
Oh, not even close.
No. I agree. The one thing I will say I'll kind of emphasize is his defense has been phenomenal. Derek White. I mean, he is such a great defender. I mean, maybe one of the best defending guards in basketball today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even Sam Howes has kind of been cold, which is
Sam
bothered
Howes,
me.
ice cold.
Yeah, it's really and they don't care. I mean, if they're cold, they're still shooting some of these guys, and it's really
Yeah.
painful to watch. But with Jason Tatum, with what he's doing, I love it. I absolutely love it. But I am so impressed by what Jaylen Brown's been doing.
Oh
The
my
way
God.
he's playing. I mean, he is showing that he's a dog. Like he wants this. Everything he's doing is almost perfect, and I love watching this Jaylen Brown. I want to see this. I mean, he got that contract and did exactly the opposite of what some other guys do. Some kinds of just tail off. They get the big money. They don't care. This guy's gone so much harder since he got that contract, and I love watching it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Jaylen Brown has been the perfect Robin to Jason Tatum's Batman, right? Like, and Jason Tatum is not being a selfish superstar. He's saying, let me kick it to him because Jaylen Brown's been hot. Like Jaylen Brown really, you haven't seen a bad game out of him really. I mean, he hasn't been a superstar in every game, but he's been efficient. He's been good. There was times where he's just red hot and they feed him and he doesn't go cold. He might be the most impressive part of this run. I love what Jason Tatum's doing. And I even hear Boston sports talking about like Jason Tatum has to be better. And in my head, I don't think he's been that bad.
No. I think we're going to stop with the Robin talk with him. He above that now. He Nightwing. He ain't the Batman no more, boys. He's right there on his own. If he needed to take over when Tatum was out, he's there. So let's give him that bump up. Let's give him that Nightwing status.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm just thinking to myself because we always the Jordan and Pippen is always the biggest Batman and Robin that we're talking about. Jaylen Brown's playing better than Scottie Pippen ever played, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So maybe Robin is too low for this guy.
Yeah, maybe it's Superman and Batman then. Maybe it's that, that those ranks instead. Because I agree with you. You know where I stand on Scottie Pippen. I love Scottie Pippen. He's a Hall of Famer, but LeBron fans have overrated. They've pushed Scottie Pippen to this point where he's overrated. And I don't think there's a lot of people who still say you can't win a championship with Jaylen Brown as your number two. And I think that is crazy to me.
Go smoke another one, boys.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about the big three, right? There's a third that missed the majority of that series, which is Kristaps Porzingis. Do you think we see him return at any point? They keep saying he's close, but how close is he? Does it worry you? Because, now it's either going to be Knicks or Pacers. What are your thoughts on, do you need Porzingis for that round, number one? And number two, who do you think comes out of that one?
We don't we need Porzingis for the next round. Good thing we finished in 5. King of Carver, you called it. 5 games. I'll give the props. I really thought it was going to be 4, but
Should have been.
you need Porzingis for that round, and I don't want to play the Pacers. I was listening to it this morning. Thinking about it, they play so much faster than the Knicks do. And you need Porzingis for that, but a better matchup for us is the Knicks. It's not the Pacers.
Okay, Steve, I caught you smirking when I first asked the question because I want to know what your thoughts are. I'm real curious. Who do we need Porzingis? Who do you want to see? Who do you think wins? What do you got, Steve?
I smiled because it kind of gives me a call back, because when we were talking about Derek White, I think part of his game that's changed is Porzingis being out. I think the offense was so much better and run so much smoother with Porzingis on the floor. And I feel like I said this on Twitter earlier. Some of the issues with the Celtics right now is the ball has become stagnant again. It's become ISO ball, and that didn't happen when Porzingis was on the floor.
Yeah.
And they're going back to it, and that concerns me in the future, because if Porzingis can come back and they continue doing that, that's when they always get in trouble. We've always seen it in the past.
Yeah, that ISO ball.
Anyway, so I guess that answers whether or not I think we need him. I definitely think we need him.
Yeah.
I think he might be the most important part, considering the fact that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have done it for as long as they have together and they've never won. I think KP could be the biggest part in the whole situation, because he's the one thing that could put them over that hump. Who do I want to see? With what Kiefer said, he's 100% right. They play fast, they play spread, they play different, and they play loose. They're young, they don't have a lot to lose. So that's always a scary opponent. The Knicks scare me because of second chance points, offensive rebounding, and everything they can do with that. And that always concerns me with the Celtics anyway. I feel like they always give up too many offensive rebounds. So that's always a problem for me. If I had to choose one, I'd probably rather face Indiana, to be honest.
Well, if
I love Jalen Brunson. I think he is an absolute dog. As long as he's healthy. I know there's some concerns with him right now. If he's healthy, he's such a problem. He could take a couple big games by himself.
I would say if I were a betting man, I'd say Steve, no matter who they play, is taking the Celtics in 7. But I'm actually with Kiefer on this one. I would rather see the Knicks. The Knicks, to me, are the Cavs. They're a one-trick pony. They have Jalen Brunson. DiVincenzo doesn't scare me. Hart doesn't scare me. Burke don't scare me. Brunson is a dog. But Brunson is going to either be one of 2 players. They have him listed as 6'2", 190. So that means he's probably 6 foot at best. He's playing almost 40 minutes a night, and he's taking a beating. So if he's Allen Iverson, and he's a guy who plays hurt and plays tough no matter what, then he's a dog, and we should fear him. But I think he's Isaiah Thomas, Celtics Isaiah Thomas, who he's gonna start breaking down. I don't want to see him break down, so I don't want people to confuse that. Like, oh, see, Celtics fans want guys to get hurt. I don't want him to get hurt because I love his game. But I just think a guy that's that small, playing 40 minutes a night, he doesn't just sit on the outside and shoot. He drives. Like, that is a recipe for disaster. And if he's not on that team, I mean, I don't know what seed they are. I don't think they're that good. Whereas the Pacers, I think they're a talented team, and their talent is spread out. Love Miles Turner. I wanted him to be a Celtic years ago. Halliburton's great. Pascal Siakam was a huge trade for them. Aaron Nesmith was a Celtic. He's turned out to be a good NBA player. Andrew Nembhard's been really good. Obi Toppin's good. TJ McConnell, they're all serviceable players. Their talent is so spread out. I think that's a worse matchup for the Celtics. I want to see the Knicks. And I mean, maybe I could be, wishing for my own funeral, basically, because the Knicks have been really good. Those guys don't scare me. And with Mitchell Robinson going down, it's even, if this comes back, even better.
Yeah, I mean, you guys might be right. I just like I said, the offensive rebounding is the thing that scares me, to see second chance points all the time. I mean, Josh Hart in this series has had an 18 rebound game and a 15 rebound game, and he's 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he's playing. I mean, if you've been watching it, he's been playing. And yeah, I just matchup wise, I don't like that matchup. I don't like the Celtics going into Madison Square Garden. I don't know why. but in the playoffs, that place is just different. It's like our place, but it's not at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, just simple things like that. And again, I could be wishing for the same thing. I could on the other side, but
Yeah,
I think I'd prefer it.
people will say, and like I want to bring up something you said earlier, with like people saying like, oh, it's such an easy road. Like, there's no easy road. These are the best teams that are still left. That you don't get to pick your opponent. People will talk about LeBron's title with the Lakers as if it wasn't a bubble win, and then they'll sit here and say, "Oh, this is harder. Oh, it's real. It's harder to go on the road against fans, especially Miami fans. They're there for almost 3/4, and then
The
Cavs,
last three.
yeah, Cavs fans, are they're a rambunctious group. I would say I don't think they're a bad group of fans. I mean, it's Cleveland, it's the middle of the country, but you're still going on the road facing fans versus in a bubble. Don't tell me it's easy to win games on the road in the playoffs. It's all good teams left.
Yeah, Indiana doesn't have a bad fan base either, man. They're still reminiscent of those Reggie Miller days. So they're praying to God that they can get up there now.
I'll say this too. I want that series to go 7, and not for selfish reasons. Man, that brings me back to those old Pacers Knicks series. Like, those are two great fan bases. Like, Indiana being good is great for the NBA. Like, that's a team that they need to be good. I love it. Like, there's just certain teams who I always want them in the playoffs. The Celtics, obviously, but like the Knicks, Madison Square Garden, the Mecca, like, you need them to be good. Indiana's another place. Like, the Lakers are another one. The Lakers are good for basketball. There's just teams like that are good for basketball. And I love seeing that. It's like when the Jazz are good. It's such a weird thing, but they're just a fan base that's out of control. You see the games there, the old Bulls Jazz series; those were great. So, well, since we have a young superstar on our team, right? We wanted to do a little exercise while we talk about the NBA players that are under 27, who you want to build around. And first, I want to find out where you guys stuck Jason Tatum. So for anyone watching this, it's not 27, it's 26 and under. So the first thing I want to talk about is, where did you have Jason Tatum? We did a 5. I will say I have 8 on my list because there was my 8th I could have left off. 6 and 7 I had a hard time leaving off. Where did you have Jason Tatum, Kiefer?
Tatum at 2.
Tatum at 2. Is that a homer pick, or do you believe he's 2?
No, Tatum. I love Tatum. I think that he could bring a team together after watching him play. Only reason why I didn't go 1 is because my next guy is a little bit younger, and I would prefer to leave him at there. But Tatum can ball, man, and he's proved it throughout all the years he's been in the NBA now. 26 years old. Come on.
Yeah. I actually think he's only 25 right now, right? Or is he 20?
Just turned 20.
He just turned 26.
Oh, okay. So he just turned 26. Steve, where'd you have Tatum? Number 1. Oh, man.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I thought we were all going to have the same number 1. I almost feel, oh, boy. You guys get ready, because I had Tatum at 5.
Wow.
I love Tatum, but anyway, I'll let you guys throw darts at me. But Steve, explain number 1.
A lot of it goes back to what we've been talking about already, him in the playoffs and how we've watched him evolve and understand what he has to do. He's done it all season. He's given up. He didn't score 30 a game this year. He gave up on scoring. He gave up just to facilitate and do what he's got to do to win. So for me, that is huge. And then over who I'm assuming you put at number 1, maybe. Defense. I mean, the guy plays defense. He's a great defender, which is lost in all of it. So that's why he's my number 1, because he's all around.
So all around best player. Kiefer, I'm gonna guess you had Luka at 1.
I do.
I do too. I had Luka at 1 too. 33, 10, and 9. I mean, I know he doesn't play defense, but the guy he's a guard version of Nikola Jokic. Like, He just,
Better than Russell Westbrook was when Russell Westbrook was averaging those triple doubles.
yeah. I mean,
The kid can shoot, he can play, he can drive.
yeah, I mean, he's so good. He just has a nose for the basket. I don't want to say he reminds me of Kobe because his game's completely different, but he reminds me of Kobe in the sense that there at times I see him shoot the ball and I think there's no way that's going in. And it somehow goes in, and it's just like, how the hell is he making these shots? Like, so he's a guy, he's my first guy I would build around. I'm with Kiefer on that one. I don't begrudge Tatum. I honestly, I feel like a failure to Boston fans putting him at 5, but
I feel like a homer.
so one for us was says Doncic. You have 2. Steve, who's your number 2?
It's Luca.
Okay.
And it's obviously everything you guys said. On top of that, I mean, you didn't want to compare him to Kobe. I don't want to compare him to Jordan, but watching him play, I get the same feeling I got with Jordan in the sense that you would watch a Michael Jordan game and you'd be, by the end of the game, you'd be like, oh, what did he score? Like 22, 24 points? It was real quiet. You look at the box score and he scored 48.
Yeah.
And you're like, I watched the whole game. When did that happen? It was just so quiet and so smooth. And I get that feeling with Luca. You watch Luca and you're like, oh yeah, he did okay. He looked all right. And then you find out he had a triple double and scored 42.
Yeah.
And you watch the whole thing, but you're like, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So
Which is, and I understand why you take him out of the number 1 category because he doesn't play defense and Tatum plays defense. So my number 2 is really, it's based on one season. It's perspective. The guy might get hurt because he looks like a frame to get hurt, but Victor Wembanyama, I mean, he is an absolute freak. 21 points, 10 boards, 4 assists. He's 20 years old. Like, if he doesn't get, like, he's got such a slight frame. That's my biggest worry. But man, he is just we talk about Porzingis got the nickname Unicorn. This is like Unicorn 2.0. If he develops, like, his shot's not bad anyway, but if he develops a more consistent 3-point shot, I think he shot like 31% or something like that. That guy's going to be deadly in this league. He's Giannis with a shot, you know?
So let me ask you this. He actually averaged more rebounds, more blocks, and more steals than the Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah.
Do you guys think he should have won it, or do you guys think it was too much to give him Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year?
I think the NBA in those terms, I don't want to say it's rigged, but it's like you're giving the guy too much. Rudy Gobert is a guy who plays great defense year in and year out, and it's a way to recognize him. But I think you absolutely could have given that to Wembanyama, and nobody would have batted an eye.
Okay.
So we all have 1 and 2. 3, Steve, start with you for 3.
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, I have Anthony Edwards at 3 too. So I'll let you take it.
Yep.
Up until the last couple, the last few games, I understand, but I mean, the guy is 22 years old.
Yeah.
And he just wants to win. You listen to the kid. I can't even call him a guy. You listen to the kid, and it's so impressive the way his mind works, what he has going on, and what he's trying to do, and the way he plays. I love it. I absolutely love his game.
Yeah. Kiefer, did you have at 3 too?
I had Edwards at 3 too. That kid can ball. 22 years old, and he's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, I have him the same thing. I have him at 3. He is only going to get better. He's 22 years old. The wild thing about these last 2 for me is I have a 20-year-old at home, and it's like I still feel young watching the NBA. Like, I'm like, oh, look at these men. And it's like, no, I'm the old guy. These guys are, they're the same age as my kids. So it's funny to think about it in terms of that, 4, I'm going to assume we're all on the same page. I'll start Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
I had Victor Wembanyama. Victor at it. I had Victor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has really come into his own. Like this year, he was good last year. He has taken that next step to superstar in the league. He averaged 36 and 6 this year, and I want to make that clear: 30 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, not 36 points. He's in the conversation for MVP. He just took that next step, and for a guy who's same age as Tatum, I mean, he is unbelievable, and that's why I had him at 4. Steve, I
Okay.
assume you have the same thing. 5, I
Yeah.
have Tatum. Unfortunately for me, I mean, he just, as I'm going through doing this, I'm like, I had him at 2, and then I have Wembanyama, and I'm like, my God, he's 5 years younger than him, and he's only going to get better. So that's where 5 landed me. Who do you guys have for 5?
Go ahead. I'll let you go, Steve.
I have Paolo Banchero.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of the way he plays. I love everything he does. His size, he's like, I don't know, maybe a bigger, to me, like more of a bigger Brandon Ingram in a way, and more
Yeah.
talented, if that makes sense. Because Brandon Ingram is a stud in his own right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like his game. He's progressed every year. I mean, it's only been a few years, but he keeps progressing in what he's doing. He's kind of taking over stuff. He's my
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. Who do you got, Kiefer?
So you guys are gonna shoot me for this after 1 season 2. I got Chet Holmgren.
Okay.
I like that. I
So
like
you
that.
you guys and people can look at me funny about this. After 1 season though, he kept up with Victor. I think he was second in MVP, rookie of the year. The guy's big. He could shoot. He could block. He could play D. I'm a little worried about his frame, but if you're building a team from how young that kid is, he could
Yeah.
be a star centerpiece for a team.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't hop on you for that. I will say he was not in my top 7. Ben Cadwell was. He was 7. Number 6 for me, get him out of Detroit, was Cade Cunningham.
Mm,
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham is filthy good, and they're going to ruin him in Detroit. Like, Detroit's another one of those teams that you want to see be good and compete because it's a historic franchise. But God, they're going to waste like years for this guy. Just get him out of Detroit and let him play with a good team, because he is 23 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds. He's like I think he's 6'4", 6'5" point guard. Like, he's fantastic.
yeah, I agree with that one. Let me go back real quick to Chet Holmgren. I had an argument with somebody on Twitter before because they were saying Shea Gilgeous-Alexander should have been the MVP as
Yeah.
opposed to Nikola Jokic. And I said, that's absolutely crazy. I said, because last year OKC was in the play-in. Shea had almost the same statistics he had last year, this year.
Yeah.
The only difference on the team was Chet Holmgren and
Yeah.
what he did. So I think he was so important to that team, and I obviously argue with that. I will say my 6th is Victor, and
Yeah.
the only reason he fell that far is simply because, 1, the frame, and 2, the San Antonio Spurs last season went 22-60. This year with Victor, they went 22-60. They didn't even progress by a game.
Yeah.
And that's my only thing. Like, if he was that impressive, they would have won 23 or 24 games as opposed to 22 the same way. So that falls into my whole MVP feeling and most valuable. But that's
Well,
why Victor fell for me.
we'll definitely see it progress. And just for argument's sake, I did go to 8 deep, and I had Tyrese Maxey. He's the Jalen Brunson, just a little younger. But I won't bore you with that because we have exhausted our time on the NBA right now. Love talking NBA, and we have so much good basketball. But I do want to get to the Bruins, because the Bruins right now are in a fight for their life. I do always like to remind everybody that I have predicted a 4-1 victory, Celtics over the Heat, 4-1 victory, Celtics over the Cavs, 4-3 victory, the Bruins over the Maple Leafs, and I did predict the Panthers in 6. So if the Panthers win, I'll be right. I'll also be mad if the Panthers win. Let's get some Bruins thoughts from you guys. Kiefer, I want you to start us off with anything Bruins you want to talk about.
I need Swayman to play like he did last night. I need that. It's a must. And forget that whole, and I know we talked about this before, the pick your shots, this and that. Slap that puck, get it to the net.
Yeah.
More times you shoot on that net, you're going to have more of a chance to score. Without, I don't care. Let Pasta shoot it 5 times. Whatever you need, it needs to happen.
I couldn't agree more. So Jeremy Swayman to me is he's being left out to dry, because he's got, I think, of the goalies left, He's the second best with goals against average in the playoffs. They're just hanging him out to dry. The defense is terrible. The shots for as I was sorry the God, why is my head going this for Florida 39 33 33 41 29. They're leaving them out to dry. They got to get some help on the other side of it.
Yep, I agree 100%. And it's get the puck away from him. Clear the puck. Whatever if you have to play old devil's hockey, play old devil's hockey to give the guy a break. I mean, I've seen reports today that he's showing signs of slowing down. He's looking tired. I mean, he's 25. He's young enough, but he's being abused, and they absolutely have to do something on the other end.
Yeah,
Maybe Marchand coming back will help that, obviously, but you hope anyway.
No. Do you think my boy Charlie there played better last night on defense, stepping up a bit more?
Finally,
we've been waiting for it all series, and finally he turned it on. I think did he have a goal? What was it, the other night, the night before that, or last night? One of the nights I thought he scored a goal, but that doesn't matter. It's helping keep all the shots on net off of Swayman.
Yes.
Don't put his shots on net. Keep him under the mark.
I'll give Montgomery some credit because I've been really rallying because I cut 2 nights ago, or actually I'll say this, before Game 5, I put out a tweet on X that said, if the Bruins don't come back from this, you fire Montgomery. And I'm kind of coming off of that because he's won 12, 32, and 20. I'm a huge prisoner of the moment guy. So I was just set to fire him. Like, I've been so sick of this hockey, 15 shots, 17 shots, 18 shots, when the opposition's, almost more than double every single night. But Swayman has been a Stanley Cup winning caliber goalie. And what I love is, even though they had a couple games where he's letting up 6, Montgomery didn't pull him. And I think that accomplishes 2 things. It's one, it's that hot goalie effect that we've been talking about. No reason to be alternating your goalies when you have a night off, sometimes 2 nights off between games. And the other thing that I think that it can possibly accomplish, maybe this pushes Ullmark to loosen up his no trade clause, because now he's not a number 1. There is a set number 1 in town now. It's Jeremy Swayman. You need to pay him after the season as well.
Oh, without a doubt.
The other thing, I do want to talk about, because we have Game 6 coming up Friday. And David Pastrnak, for me, is a guy that needs to step up. And what I mean by that is, in the regular season, David Pastrnak, every single offensive category, is your team leader. Goals, assists, points, time on ice, shots, you name it. David Pastrnak is the leader. He only leads the postseason in 2 categories: shots and time on ice. The guy is completely snake bitten. So he's still getting his shots. He's not scoring. And he's spending the most time on ice. This is of forwards, no defensemen. Defensemen, naturally, there's only 3 lines, so they are on the ice. But amongst forwards, he leads you in the regular season in every category. But then in the postseason, he goes invisible. He needs to step up. Like Kiefer just said, you have to start shooting the puck. I don't care if he has to shoot it 10 times in a game. Just put it on the net. Get some garbage goals. Because when you put Florida on their heels, the pressure starts falling on them. And I guarantee you some of these guys are going to start making stupid mistakes and dumb penalties, and that gives you an edge. They have to start doing something. And it just goes to show you, 28 shots on net, they win the game. 29 shots on net in Game 1, they win the game. Shoot the puck.
Yep. 100% agree. I mean, we said it 100 times. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? We all know that.
Yeah. No, they shoot. They need to shoot.
Yeah.
And one other thing too, like Brad Marchand's injury, the upper body injury, he's missed some time. He did practice today, so I would anticipate he's going to be playing on Friday. How important is Brad Marchand to them winning Game 6?
Very important.
I mean, that's your captain. It's your leader, obviously.
I was just going to say, he's the captain. Captain on the ice is the biggest thing for a hockey team.
Yeah.
start out there. Who do you got leading you?
Yeah, I completely agree. And there's, I want to go back to a little bit to game 4. What did you guys think about that? The game, was it the game tying goal? With the goalie interference that was reversed? Well, it wasn't. They scored, and then it was the game tire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, interference was.
I mean, how do you go to replay? I think we're all speechless on this, but what is the point of replay? And I don't want to blame the series on that because obviously the series has come down to shots. We're not blaming on this, but what is the point of replay if you're getting those wrong?
There is no point.
Yeah.
The whole point of bringing replays into sports now, and it's been multiple things, it's to help prevent stuff like that, and it didn't help at all.
Yeah.
What's the point now? Toss it out the game then, because if you're not going to go by the replay, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I completely agree. And we have a really important game. We're going to speed through the Bruins here because I know we want to talk a lot about Patriots too. But game 6 tomorrow night. Steve, give me any thought you have on game 6 tomorrow night before we move into the Patriots. Prediction, anything?
I hope Brad's back. I said Bruins in 7, so I'm gonna stick with what I said. So Bruins in 7, they win game 6. I will throw this out there. I just pulled the stat up. Jeremy Swayman's leading the NHL in saves in the postseason this year with 322, but he's also leading the league in save percentage at a 933.
That is insane.
So,
good he's been. He is a Stanley Cup caliber winning goalie. They're hanging him out to dry right now. The defense needs to be better and the offense needs to shoot.
Yeah, I told you guys that in the beginning of the series. It said guys that are playing like Swayman have naturally, I think there was 5 goalies that played better than him that he's doing right now, and every one of them has won the cup.
Yeah, and so, you guys have read my Sunday night blogs, which since I went on vacation, I haven't done one, but all winter, all I talked about was how the Bruins get outshot every night, and that's a recipe for losing. So recently, ESPN did an article on it talking about that, how the Bruins weren't shooting enough, and I'm screaming at my computer like I've been talking about this in February. So, Kiefer, what's your prediction for tomorrow night?
Praying to God that they can pull through because my dumbass said they win in 4, and hopefully they win 7 now.
Well, I obviously predicted Florida to win in 6. I don't want them to. I think the Bruins have a really good chance to make this an interesting series. Win tomorrow night at home, go back down to Florida and shock the world. Can they do it? Absolutely. And I hope they do, but I'll stick with mine. I did say Panthers, so I'm not going to go back on it now, but despite me having Jason Tatum at 5 and picking the Panthers to win, I am a Boston sports fan, and I will prove that in probably not this next segment because we're talking about the Patriots. So, Kiefer, it was your opening thought was Patriots, so why don't you get us started here as well with the Drake May stuff, which has not been a surprise, but definitely interesting to hear a head coach. We had Belichick for so long who wouldn't say anything. Now we have Mayo who can't stop talking. So
I like the fact that Mayo is talking. I don't think he wanted May. I don't. And I'm not saying anything bad. I'm not saying anything bad. And I don't think he wanted him specifically. I think he wanted Daniels or one of them. He knew that his next best spot was him. So now it's time to work with him. I don't think he's going to play this. And I'm praying to God, because we all said that after they drafted him, let him sit. Let him sit and just start Jacoby. Let it go. Let it ride. The fact that you're saying his footwork isn't looking good, this and that, he has a lot to go on. That needs to be said for him to, to move on to that next step. He needs to keep him going there and going there. He's one of the first one in the building now, from reports. He's one of the last ones out. He's working with the rookie receivers. He's doing good, but he needs time to develop, and let him develop him. Let him develop that guy for the next year.
Steve?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. I I'm not surprised by these reports. I mean, they're not even reports. I mean, it came right from Mayo's mouth, so I guess it's not even a report. I'm not surprised to hear these things. We had all said this from the jump. I mean, if you guys watched the draft, the live reaction, you saw our reaction to when Drake May was drafted. And even before that, we've written about it. Yeah, I this doesn't surprise me. And it sounds, I mean, I think Tifa nailed it. It sounds like Gerard Mayo. This wouldn't have been his choice if he was the one making the decision, but this was kind of forced upon him. And as a rookie coach, you don't like to have those things forced upon you. You want to put yourself in the best position you feel. And he may feel that the team didn't do that for him, but yeah, he should absolutely sit for the year. It might extend past that if it doesn't progress in the way that you hope it progresses. But yeah, I agree with most of what Keith has said.
Well, let me say this. Do you think Kraft is starting to become Jerry Jones, that he's too involved in this stuff and he just wants the big splash? We all know he wanted Mac Jones. Belichick did not want Mac Jones. And now we have Drake May. So, I mean, now we're thinking that Mayo didn't want Drake May. I heard an interesting I was listening to Sports Talk Radio, and I'll give the credit to Scott Zolak. Scott Zolak said he was at practice, and he said Mayo as a head coach looked a little lost out there. He wasn't really talking to any specific groups. He was just bouncing around from one person to the next, just floating around. And I just worry that what else did he say? Sorry. He also said that it might have been him. It could have been someone else on the show, that they believe that Kraft is going to push for Drake May to start this year, which I know that it's an unpopular opinion, but I said start him. I don't draft a guy at number 3 that's not playing. If he wasn't ready, he shouldn't have been picked at 3. Josh Allen was put into a position where he started right away, and he's fine. You either have it or you don't. I don't think he has it. I don't think he should have been the pick, but I am starting him. As a fan, I don't work for the team. So as a fan, I don't want to see Jacoby Brissett. I know what that product is. I don't know what the Drake May product is. Let me see if this guy's got a cannon. I don't think he does. I think Mayo said it best. He said May has a lot of work to do. Okay. They said he looked fine throwing against air, and they said fine. Fine. They said he made some precise throws, and then he missed some throws against air. They said the one thing they did say is he has a cannon. They said Joe Milton's arm is better. So it's like, I mean, this feels like a forced pick. And now we're going to watch this guy sit behind Jacoby Brissett for a year and watch Brissett get killed. And then we're going to wait till year 2 to watch May not be good.
Well, so no, you bring up Milton, though. I think there was a plan with Mayo drafting Milton. Milton already came out and said that they already said that they're not moving in positions.
Yeah.
They're not. So you could see something like you saw with Robert Griffin III, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Which I think all of us, when we were talking, that was what we all wanted all the time. I always wanted 2 quarterbacks because I think we all feared it was going to be May, and we were right. And now we're looking at it like, that's what you need. You need another rookie to push this guy, because Jacoby Brissett in the long run is not going to be a guy to push Drake May. Drake May knows he's the future if it's just those 2 in the room. But with Joe Milton there, Joe Milton's a young, hungry guy who's working just as hard as Drake May. That's going to push May. I just think it was a bad pick. It's a failed pick. I hate picking a guy at 3 that isn't going to play for me. Like that. Jaden Daniels is going to play in Washington, right? Caleb Williams is going to play in Chicago. You did get, I want to talk about Baker and Polk too, because they said both those guys looked really good in rookie minicamp. I get it. It's against air, but they said both of them were aggressive and going to get passes. They had sharp running routes. They both looked fast. I know that Baker was lined up as the X receiver a lot of the time, and Polk was the Z receiver. They said these guys were fluid and smooth. So you did go out and you got him 2 guys who might be NFL caliber receivers. but we're just going to sit this guy because he's not ready. So everyone else can take their lumps, but we got to coddle Drake May. That's who's the leader of my team? I don't think so.
This is where everybody's going to start disagreeing because, me and Steve, we don't want him to stop. I don't care if you wasted a pick on 3 for him. You've proven that guys that sit and learn for their first year generally do better going into their second year with more knowledge. I already said it in the beginning of this. They're going to run the ball this season. They're going to run it hard. Stevenson's going to run. You don't know what this rookie kid's going to do. You got Gibson there as a 3-back. They're going to use them like they did in Cleveland, and they're going to try to run this monster running game and have someone step in as that role to make the precise throws that need to happen. And Brissett can do it. Not saying he's great. Not saying he's a quality starter. I'm not going to say all that shit, but he can control an offense when it comes to a running game.
I'll let you respond, Steve, before I go wild.
I'm smiling because I've never had my opinion in my head stop playing with it, like competing with itself, like I just did with FIFA talking, because I'm against what you're saying, Eli, just for the simple fact that I don't think he's ready, and you did use that number 3 pick on him.
Yeah.
So what my thinking is, if he has holes in his game, give him that year to figure it out without getting his ass beat. I mean, again, like the whole David Kai, we talked about that. He was sacked 76 times as a rookie. Yeah, the kid was never going to be anything after that. I don't want to see Drake May do that. So he's young enough. If you can give him a year, if he gets to work on those things, maybe he can be ready. He's not ready now. Maybe he can get to being ready, and he'll be 23 to start his second season. So that's why I disagree with you. But where it switched for me is when Kiefer starts talking about them running the ball all the time. And my mindset went completely to, well, if they're going to run, you might as well have Drake May out there to hand them the ball. So my opinion completely got switched just as you were talking, because if that's the game plan, he might as well be out there and then he can throw a couple quick outs and he can play that game. So you kind of switched my opinion on it in the middle of it. That's why I started laughing.
My other thing is with Kiefer, I said wild, I'm not going to go wild. So monster running game to me in 2024 is so dumb. Only because Stevenson was the lead back last year and only played in 12 games and had 619 yards. The last monster running back was Derrick Henry, and he lasted 8 years. These guys break down. Stevenson's not playing 16 games this year, especially if you just hand him the ball all the time. Gibson's a third down running back, and we have a rookie who played at a small college and had 600 yards. If the plan is Jacoby Brissett, hand off the ball, they're going to be looking at 3rd and 7 a lot, and Brissett's going to have to pass at some point. My guess is to the other team a lot. It's a bad offense. Put in the rookie. Let's see what
as bad as you guys think it is.
With a defensive head coach and a offensive coordinator who's calling plays for the first time since 2006, I think it could be worse than I think it is. This is not a team built for offensive success. It's 2024. Could you imagine the Chiefs saying, hey, Pat, let's just hand the ball off a bunch?
Well, you say that, but you need the kid to learn anyway. So if you have Brissett playing quarterback and you have a solid offensive line where they could run the ball, you're not looking to go to the playoffs this year. I don't care what anybody says. They weren't going to the playoffs this year or maybe next year. So run the ball. Let them learn an offense.
Well, here's the problem. If it's going to take him a year to learn the offense, how long is it going to take him to learn footwork? Because that's his problem. Nobody says the guy's dumb and he can't learn an offense. What they say is he's got poor mechanics and poor footwork. So if it's going to take him all year to learn how to, use his feet. How did he make it to Division I college with poor footwork, and he's going to immediately get better in the NFL with better competition? It's not going to happen. I'm throwing him into the fire. I'm telling him, if you want to be the number 3 overall pick, you better learn it on the fly. Learn how to control your feet, because he has a cannon. We know he can throw. There's no doubt about that. He made it all the way to a Division I school and number 3 pick in the draft. Is Jacoby Brissett taking 104 sacks this year going to teach Drake May how to use his feet?
No, but Josh Allen didn't have 2 great first seasons before he got Dayball. His footwork was awful. Dayball comes in and has changed his whole game.
Is Alex Van Pelt Brian Dayball?
No, we don't need him to be Brian Dayball is what I'm saying. You need the kid to sit and learn for a reason. Let him sit, let him learn the footwork. Yes, I get your number 3 thing. I get what you're saying. We're running the ball, throw him out there anyway. I hear it all. I want him to learn. I need the kid to learn because I'm not going to sit here and waste a number 3 pick after we just wasted a 14th pick on Mac Jones to watch another quarterback fail again and then have to do the whole thing over 2 years from now.
I don't think Mac Jones was as talented as Drake May. I think Drake May is a more talented Mac Jones.
Correct.
He's got a better arm than him. He's more accurate than him. And I hope he is more competitive than him. I think you're going to see Drake May at some point this season because I think that's what Kraft wants. And I think Gerard Mayo's a puppet for Kraft. I do. If you believe that Mayo didn't want May and he still took him, it's because Kraft is calling the shots, not Mayo, which is exactly why he put into a contract Mayo is the next coach. Like there's nothing about this that says to me that Jacoby Brissett is starting all season, other than the fact that we have these loose reports that say, oh, we're just going to have him learn. I don't think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see Drake May this year, and I think we're going to learn a lot about the kid. And let me tell you something, again, I want him to learn too. I'm not completely against it, and I'm kind of being a contrarian to be a contrarian, but I also do believe my logic of if you're picking him at 3, he better be starting. Caleb Williams is going to a bad team that they made better. He's going to start. Jaden Daniels is going to start in Washington. J.J. McCarthy's going to start in Minnesota. Bo Nix is going to start in Denver. Penix is going to sit and learn only because they went and paid Cousins. And Cousins is already unhappy about this, and he's come out and voiced it. Like, you picked number 3. He's not going to learn. He can learn a playbook till he's blue in the face. He can read that thing every night till midnight and learn it. It's footwork. How are you going to learn footwork? By playing or by reading a playbook?
No, you're right on that. As you heard, I heard Bo Nix, and I do gotta say, I've heard some really, really great stuff coming out of his rookie mini camp. Like legitimately from Sean Payton, from other coaches, the kid looks great, I guess, and he's picking up that offense really, really, really quick. You might see a really good rookie year out of that kid.
I think Bo Nix is a year older than Kirk Cousins, so he should be a seasoned vet at this point.
Spencer Rattler.
Yep. Yeah. No, I have heard Bo Nix looks good, and I trust Sean Payton's judgment because he wanted Drew Brees. He got Drew Brees, and they won a Super Bowl. And I am trying hard not to be a prisoner of the moment because I did want to fire Jim Montgomery. These guys are thrown against air, so it is a little different. Game speeds tend to change. We'll see how it all washes out. I guess my point is these guys are all starting except for Drake May, and that just tells me it's such a bad pick. And I think it's a Kraft pick, just like I think Mac Jones was a Kraft pick. And I think that's the problem with the franchise is when your owner steps in and now he starts making the decisions for your coaching staff. It's Bill Parcells who famously said, if you're going to ask me to make dinner, let me buy the groceries, right?
Now, did you hear about Elliott Wolf?
What about him getting the nod?
That position now of the what did they call it for the name? They didn't call him the GM. It was the executive
of player personnel or something.
Senior president or something.
Yeah. Now, think of it like this: if Kraft wanted May at 3, was Wolf the one that wanted Milton at 6 in the 6th round? Who wanted him? Because I think Milton could be. I really do. I like Joe. I like Milton. Milton was a great quarterback in college. You know, and the kid can throw. I've watched the video. He threw like 105 yards.
Yeah,
he's got an absolute cannon.
Oh,
yeah, good. Milton was good at Michigan. He's good at Tennessee. I like Milton. Maybe Wolf liked him. I mean, I don't know. I potentially. I think it was always smart to get two quarterbacks because it's just. I mean, the more throws you take, the more chances. It's like hockey, right? The more shots on net, the more chances for a goal. The more irons in the fire, you have a better chance of hitting on a quarterback. I like Milton's upside, and that's a guy. If I get a guy in the 6th round, I'm okay with sitting him because if you're a 6th round pick, you're good. You might be talented, but you might not be ready for the NFL. And that's why, like in the 1st round, I'm thinking you need to be ready for the NFL in the 1st round. Could have had Marvin Harrison Jr. Could have had Joe Alt. You could have had Brock Bowers for all I care. He's a number 1 tight end. We get the 3rd overall quarterback, and that's what bugs me. And he's the only one who's not going to start minus Penix. You know.
Yep. 100% agree.
2 other guys I want to talk about. We talked about, I mentioned, I'll let you guys, if you guys want to talk any bit about Baker and Polk, and I said how they looked good. I don't know if you guys want to talk about them at all.
Oh, they from the reports, because I listen to Sports Talk Radio too, Beetle and Zoe were talking about it. They do look good, and Baker might actually live up to all that shit talking he does.
I hope he does.
He's here. He's hungry. He's ready to go. Polk is looking crisp. I think they're 2 legit receivers that could turn into something special for this team if you have the right personnel around them.
Yeah. Stevie, anything on those?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I'm hopeful.
Yeah. It's on
me. I'm sort of a pessimist, so you know how I go. But I'm not going to say any of them are N'Keal Harry or anything. So,
well, he was he was good at ASU. I mean, you got from that. But another guy, thanks, Steve. 2 other guys I do want to talk about briefly, and then we'll touch on the Red Sox before we wrap things up. Caden Wallace, your guy from Penn State, Kiefer, he's taken the reps at left tackle. He played left tackle in high school. He obviously moved to right tackle at Penn State. They've had, obviously they had their left tackle go in the first, Fashanu. The spot's his if he wants it at left tackle. I mean, it's completely wide open for him. Kiefer, I'll defer to you because you're a Penn State guy. Tell me about Caden Wallace. I know we talked a little bit about him. You don't love him. Can he transition to left tackle, and will he start?
So he might be able to. The problem with Wallace was, that's what my thing was about it, was his hands.
Okay.
His hands not great.
All right.
You're the left tackle. You're watching the blind side. You're going up against guys like Bosa and all these other guys that are studs in the NFL.
Yeah.
And their hand movement, the way they play is hard. That's the only transition I had with them. Footwork looks good. The stance is there. The body's there. It was the hands that I had an issue with.
Okay.
At Penn State, and you guys, being you guys, the fans you guys are, Penn State's a good team. They're coached well. It's just it's hard to move someone in their first year to right to left.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was going to happen that soon, but hopefully the hands can show up for him and he can look a lot better.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. And Stevie, you want to touch on Wallace at all?
Yeah, no, I kind of feel the same way. I know they talked to his I was listening to sports radio again, and they were talking to his offensive line coach, and he was saying something about the fact that he practiced at left tackle at Penn State. They gave him practice there and gave him some reps, but he never obviously played in game. It is tough. I mean, it is tough to come into the NFL and protect the blind side like that, to switch sides, especially, I mean, you're going from college to the NFL, but I guess we have to just trust what the coaches see, and if they make that decision, and hope it looks better than last year, I guess. I mean, I'm not too optimistic about that offensive line anyway. So, I mean, you're right. It's his position to lose if he wants it. He's got to go out there and get it.
And I'll say this: you mentioned the offensive line, and what I want to say is Layden Robinson taking snaps at left guard. Does that mean Cole Strange could be on notice? And he should be on notice, but it looks like Layden Robinson is taking his reps at left guard, which means maybe the only person in love with Cole Strange is no longer employed by the Patriots by the name of Bill Belichick. Layden Robinson, left guard. Do you think there's anything to that, or this is just rookie mini camp and they're lining guys up?
There's something to it. Cole Strange is not where he got drafted. You guys talk about this, that he was not a guy you wanted to draft that high.
Oh, sure. I mean, McVay said it all in his video.
He wasn't, and I think he is on notice. I don't think that I don't think that they think that he can play starting in the NFL right now. If you need him as a backup, I'll take it. Kid's already got experience now, but to start as many games as you're going to start in the NFL at one of the hardest positions on the offensive line in the NFL, you need to step it up. So I think there is something to it.
Yeah, Steve, anything about that?
Yeah, I think there was something to it, but I think it could just be a ploy to get Cole Strange to step up and actually do something. It could be just a little prodding, a little get the news out there that this is what's going on. He's practicing in your spot. Maybe it's time for you to do something, and this is your last opportunity. It could just be something like that as well.
I hope it is, because obviously the offensive line is the most important part of the game. As far as I'm concerned, you need to protect your quarterback. You need to be able to create lanes for a running back. So Cole Strange, hopefully he can develop into the player that Bill thought he was going to be. I don't think he will. But that's kind of all I have on the Patriots. Before we get into the Red Sox, Timberwolves are up 43-24 right now. So that one looks like maybe a game 7, as long as the T-Wolves don't fall apart. It's the middle of the second. But we'll touch on the Red Sox briefly because they're flirting. They just continue to flirt with 500. They're 22-21 right now. We can still win 90, Steve. So don't laugh and shake your head at me. But they're 5-8 in May. They're floundering. My big thing is they have the third most errors in the major leagues, behind Miami and Oakland, no less. We were sold they were going to be better defensively, and that's really why they're 22-21. They're in third still, and I think they're only like 6 games out, maybe 8 games out, but they're in the top half of the league in batting average, on base percentage, slugging, and OPS. They have the best ERA in the majors. They have the second best whip in the majors. They have the most shutouts. Their defense is absolutely killing them night in and night out. And it's frustrating because they could be good. And I don't think they could be top of the league, but I mean, they could be better than 1 game over 500. They might be a wild card team. Not if they're playing defense like this.
No. Not even close.
Steve, I know you want to. They are.
No, I'm not even going to say that because I thought they were worse than 22-21. At least they're dancing with 500 and they're sticking around there. The injuries, I mean, that has to be a part of the conversation. I mean, they're absolutely depleted. But I mean, they're tied 5-5 right now. Jarren Duran has had a game. He just won yard to tie the game.
Oh, he's playing great.
He really is. I mean, he had a double to center earlier. He's looking real good. At the beginning of the season, I was upset, obviously, with John Henry. I'm not going to give these people $1 because they're not spending on the team. They're doing all this nonsense. But now watching them, I enjoy watching them.
Yeah.
They're young. They're sticking around. I thought, 22-21. I thought there was no way. I thought they'd be 10 games under 500 at this point in the season. But they're doing, the pitching is unbelievable. And there's some, watching the Jarren Durans of the world, and the younger guys like that, Rafael, it's been fun to watch.
Yeah.
To say the least.
I mean, I'll just say Ref Snyder, he's only played 19 games, but him and Connor Wong are both batting over 300. You have Devers, Abreu, Yoshida, Duran, all over 260. Houck and Crawford are both pitching like aces. And I say it every time. And the more times I say it, I guess maybe it's just, I don't want to jinx it at this point. It probably won't stay this way, but Houck's got a 2.17 ERA. Crawford's got a 2.2 ERA. I mean, this team can compete. I would love them to make a move. And I have 2 really whoppers on my list that they're my dream moves. I don't think that this is not me saying they're going to make a push for it, but when is Mike Trout going to get out of Anaheim? or LA, right? Why not? What is it going to take? Talk to Anaheim. Pete Alonso in New York. They gave him another 1-year deal for $20 million. With Cassis hurt probably till the end of June. I don't know. Alonso to me feels like he could be a great bat at Fenway, and you could stick him at DH most nights. They're clearly not going to make Devers a DH. Those are two guys. I know they're both not coming, but why not? Like that's what I want to know is why not other than money? You're going to tell me money, but like you didn't go after Soto. You didn't go after these guys. Why not? I mean, Mike Trout's career has been wasted in Los Angeles, and Pete Alonso just wants a deal.
Well, I don't think Trout cares about his career getting wasted because he wouldn't have stayed there if he didn't. But he might like that sun a little much out there.
Yeah.
And the warmer weather coming up in playoffs. But I don't see Trout. I could see Alonso getting traded and traded to us. That seems like a more legitimate pick with what he has going on. But I don't see Trout getting traded from Anaheim. I just don't.
I mean, I don't think he will either. But that whole team is a mess. Like they're a team that should move. Honestly, like just find another city. The Los Angeles belongs to the Dodgers. They're not even in LA. They're in Anaheim. They just wanted to be close to LA. Like just find a new spot and play baseball somewhere else. That's a team if they moved, I would not care at all. I like them better as the California Angels. But yeah, I just want the Red Sox to do something because, like you said, Steve, they're fun to watch right now. They're giving you a summer to watch. They're giving you a product. They just keep dancing with 500, and mainly it's like you're shooting yourself in the foot with these errors every night.
Yep, I agree completely. I'll go back to Mike Trout. He's just the injuries concern me. I mean, he hasn't played since last month. I mean, he's out for an extended period of time now. The Pete Alonso, I absolutely love that idea. And with the Mets and what's going on with them, that might be something you could work out. That'd be great, especially at Fenway. That would be fun to watch.
No, it would. Aim of the ball too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he would absolutely mash at Fenway and abuse the monster. I just want to say this too about their errors. I don't have the stat in front of me. They have 21 losses. I want to say in 19 of the 21 losses, they have errors, one or more. So, I mean, there's a direct correlation with the fact that your errors are costing you games because I think all but 2 of the games, it was, I had it written down somewhere and I can't seem to find it, but it's a direct correlation. Play better defense and you win more games. Even if out of the 21 losses you have, or the 19 where you have them, even if you split it in half and you only win 9 of those games and you still lose 10 of them, you're what, 31 and 11? Like that's good enough to be better than the Yankees.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, you know,
errors are the killers. Yep. Errors and unearned runs. Those are the absolute killers.
Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of all I have for the Red Sox. Other than the fact that I will say this, I love Wilyer Abreu. I was high on him before the season. You know that, Steve. We talked about it, and I really think he's turning into be at 23 years old. This kid's a really good outfielder, and he's going to be a player to watch with Rafaela and some of these other guys. But I just wanted to point out that I absolutely love that kid.
No, he's a good ball player.
Do you guys have anything else, or we're going to wrap this up shortly? But if final thoughts, Kiefer, what do you got for us?
Final thoughts: Bruins definitely need to win tomorrow. Let Porzingis come back for this next series, and Rangers tied it up. It's 3-3. Let's pray for a Carolina win, but just the Rangers just scored again.
oh wow!
Jeez.
That's 2 goals in less than 6 minutes. In the fourth, one was power play, one wasn't.
Jesus. Well, Steve, what's your final thoughts?
Yeah, go Bees. Like I said, I called them in 7, so hopefully I was right. And let's wait and see what happens with the Knicks and Pacers. Let's come into that series and who we're going to be facing.
All right. Well, my final thought will be we're just going to keep marching towards 90 wins. I do believe the Red Sox can do it. They are going to give us a good summer and something to watch. I'm hoping for, I say it every time, I'm rooting for the Bees. I really think they can get it done at home. 100%. They are in this. Put the puck on net, boys. And also, Kiefer, what I want you to do is go on your calendar, wherever it is, because I want you to mark September 8th at 1:00 p.m. Drake May will be in uniform starting for the Patriots against the Bengals, week 1. That's all I have. That's all we have for you guys. This has been another great show, the Boston Boys Sports. Thank you, Kiefer. Thank you, Steve. We are partnered with Jones and for Sports. We make sports better. Guys, thank you for tuning in again. And we're going to keep putting out this product. So find us on X at Hub Boys Sports. Find us on YouTube. Steve, what's the YouTube?
Same. It's Hub Boy Sports.
All right. And also interact with us anytime you want. Steve will be glad to fight with any of you guys on X, not physically, but he will agitate the heck out of you. All right, guys. Thank you so much, man. Have a great Thursday night.
You too, boys. Have a good one.
You too. Take care, guys.